In league with the wicked Count Dooku. More and more planets slip.
What's going on, guys? I'm the Walrus Jedi, and welcome to another alien species video. As you've seen in the intro, today we are going over the Quarren. So if you like these videos on Star Wars aliens, then please consider liking and subscribing and hitting the notification bell for more. And feel free to suggest any species that you would like to see in future episodes. Without further ado, let's get to their home planet and the Quarrens. Mon Calamari. From space, the placid blue of Mon Calamari is an oasis of oceanic calm, yet the planet has a history of remarkable turmoil. Even its name is in dispute. Official star logs list it as Mon Calamari, while its natives prefer to call it Dak. Its seas roil with life, from vast algal swards to schools of razor-toothed krakonas. While the planet is known for its two intelligent species, the goggle-eyed Mon Calamari and the tentacle-faced Quarren, in truth it boasts several more, including the cetacean Walidons and the hive-minded jellies known as Moapa. Only island chains break the surface of the shallow oceans, with most of the 27.5 billion inhabitants living in floating megalopolises, Coral City, Foam Wander, or pressurized bases on the seafloor, Aquarius, Coral Depths. The planet's troubles date back to prehistory, when the Mon Calamari and Quarren civilizations arose from the surf. The Mon Cals established a reputation as amiable consensus builders, while the Quarren filled the role of paranoid recluses. Though the two species inhabited dissimilar ecological niches, Mon Cals near the water's surface, Quarren in the depths, the two inevitably collided in armed conflict. Resentful segregation took the place of combat following first contact with the Republic in 4,166 years before the Battle of Yavin, though civil war has occasionally flared up since. During the Clone Wars, the galactic dynamic of Republic versus Separatists provided an excuse for Mon Calamari to split along its own factional lines, with the Calamarian Council supporting Coruscant and the Quarren Isolation League pledging its allegiance to Count Dooku. After the rise of the Empire, Mon Calamari became an imperial possession. With both Mon Cals and Quarren doomed to live out their lives as imperial slaves, a resistance movement took shape, eventually driving the Empire out of Mon Calamari space entirely. The Mon Cals, and their top commander Admiral Akbar, began supporting the alliance, even leading some to label them the soul of the rebellion. The Quarren feared that the Mon Cal's latest round of activism would bring further ruin to their planet. They found their fears proven correct in 10 ABY, when the world devastators of the resurrected Emperor obliterated several floating cities, killing millions. 1 year later, Imperial Admiral Dalla destroyed another city with a Star Destroyer bombardment. The recovering planet has since remained off the galactic stage, except for its role as temporary capital of the Galactic Federation of Free Alliances during the Yuzon Vong War. The seas long ago swallowed all outward signs of battle damage, and Mon Calamari's cerulean sphere remains as inviting today as it was at the time of its discovery, more than 150 generations ago. It has a diameter of 11,030 kilometers, 21 hours in its day, and 398 local days in its year. It has a population of over 27 billion, made up of Mon Calamari and Quarren, and it's about 60% Quarren, 39% Mon Calamari, and 1% other. Languages spoken: Mon Calamarian, Quarrenese, and Basic. They have a government of a representative council. They export seafood, high-tech, starships, and weapons. And they import foodstuffs, medicine, and technology. The amphibious Quarren share the outer rim world of Mon Calamari, Dak in their native tongue, with the forward-thinking Mon Calamari species. Quarren have leathery orange skin, turquoise eyes, and suction-cupped fingers. Quarren have the ability to alter their skin color, but this is done only during mating rituals. Since 4 tentacles sprout from the lower half of their faces, they have earned the not-so-flattering nickname of Squid-Heads, by which they are known to outsiders. While the Mon Calamari are dreamers and idealists, the Quarren are more practical and conservative. They've made a place for themselves in the galaxy, acting as accountants and business managers. Despite this, not many leave home, as they prefer their peaceful ocean life to the vastness of the star-studded void. The 2 species share a common native tongue, but because the Mon Calamari have stopped using the language almost completely in favor of Basic, the Quarren continue to speak their own language regularly unless dealing with outsiders. Relations between the Quarren and the Mon Calamari have not always been peaceful. Quarren lived at greater depths than the Mon Calamari, and for many generations they lived in completely separate and isolated communities. When the Quarren started traveling to higher levels of the oceans, they encountered the Mon Calamari and attacked their more technologically advanced neighbors. These battles proved disastrous for the Quarren, who were nearly driven to extinction. As a means of preventing unending wars between their species, the Mon Calamari attempted a daring social experiment aimed at civilizing the Quarren. During these wars, the Mon Calamari captured nearly 1 million Quarren. The Mon Calamari were reluctant to release the Quarren, fearing that they would take up arms once more, forcing the Mon Calamari to kill them in battle. Desperate for another solution, the Mon Cals removed a generation of Quarren children from their captured parents and raised them in Mon Calamari cities, educating them in philosophy, mathematics, and science. Otherwise, they made no effort to force their beliefs on the Quarren children or change their hatred of Mon Calamari. After a decade, the children were returned to their families, and the results of the experiment was readily apparent. The children exhibited new respect for the Mon Calamari. Quarren elders felt the children had been brainwashed. The children in turn perceived the elders as primitive savages. The generations no longer had anything in common. 15 years later, the children had grown to adulthood and assumed control of Quarren society, and several years after that, opened diplomatic relations with their worldmates. While this was a controversial approach on the part of the Mon Calamari, it perhaps saved the Quarren and in turn themselves. After building something of a political friendship, the Mon Calamari encouraged the Quarren to work with them in pursuing dreams of space and advanced science. The Mon Cals provided the ideas and the Quarren provided the raw materials. Together they built impressive ships for deep space, as well as impressive floating cities that dominate the oceans. These giant cities extend far below the surface of the water and serve as centers of learning, culture, and government. In contrast with the Mon Calamari, who prefer more daylight and live in the upper levels of the cities, the Quarren live in the lowest levels of the metropolis, in the cool security of the deep. This fits with their cultural identity as a pragmatic people, unwilling to trust or embrace the new idea or lofty concept. Their literature reveals a people who do not dream of brighter tomorrows, but hold fast to remembered yesterdays. Thus, they feel they belong in the sea, not in space. And yet, many Quarren have followed their neighbors off-planet. Quarren are able to live on land as long as they are able to keep their skin moist. As they benefited from the discoveries and achievements of the Mon Calamari, they have grown dependent upon them. This dependency has caused friction between the two peoples, and may have promoted the Quarren to join Count Dooku and the Confederacy during the Clone Wars. Though an armistice was reached before the end of the wars and the creation of the Empire, it is believed that the Quarren betrayed their ocean compatriots the day that the Imperial fleet arrived. On that day, Mon Calamari's planetary defense systems failed to protect them from invasion. Rumors persist that the Quarren aided the Imperials by sabotaging this protective network. The Empire enslaved both the Quarren and the Mon Calamari, forcing them to work in labor camps. There, the two species found a unifying cause and cooperated in a plan of passive resistance. The Empire retaliated by destroying whole cities on Mon Calamari, filling the ocean with the blood of both species. This incited these peaceful peoples to rise up in rage. Using only primitive utensils, hand tools, and sheer will, they forced their Imperial taskmasters to leave their world. Today, Quarren and Mon Calamari live in peace with each other, although there still is some lingering resentment. Persistent elements of Quarren society recall the wars against the Mon Calamari and the Mon Calamari's deceptive theft of their children. Some Quarren believe that Mon Cals brought havoc to their world by exploring space in the first place. Similarly, some Quarren believe the adoption of Mon Calamari as a name for their planet is one more example of the Mon Calamari species seeking its own glorification at the Quarren's expense. These Quarren do their best to enact revenge against the New Republic and the Mon Cal without bringing harm upon their own. There has been an effort by some Quarren to find another homeworld, one they would not have to share following the Battle of Mon Calamari during the New Republic era. And yet, one sign that healing is occurring between the two peoples is that more interspecies romances are being recorded, one of the better known being the relationship involving two Rogue Squadron pilots, the late Ibtisam, a Mon Calamari, and Nurin Vakil, a Quarren. When Ibtisam was killed in action, their relationship became public knowledge, leading to more openness about the two species interrelating. For many residents of Mon Calamari, this is evidence of hope for their people and their world. Alright, that is the Quarren and their home planet of Mon Calamari. Let me know what you thought of the Quarren in the comments down below. And did you learn anything new about this species? Feel free to suggest any alien species that you would like to see in future episodes. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and until next time, thanks for watching.